Everybody, it's Eugene Driscoll of valleyindy.org. Welcome to Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast. If I sound weirder than usual, it's because I'm recording this on my cell phone at 9:30 the evening of April 20th. So I just wanted to play for you, after I give this slight, hopefully short introduction, the April 20th meeting of the Municipal Finance Advisory Council. That's a state advisory council that the city of Derby is in front of because of its recent history of basically poor financial practices and some findings in city audits that have been circulating for a number of years. At the end of this 16-minute discussion, the chairwoman of the Municipal Finance Advisory Council warns the city that there could be a vote coming up to move the city out of the Municipal Finance Advisory Council's jurisdiction to this other board known as MARB. That stands for the state's Municipal Accountability Review Board. Now, this may not happen. It was a statement made at the end indicating that it could happen. The next meeting of the advisory council is June. So a lot could change, obviously. But MARB was in the news recently because that's the state agency that is essentially taking over the finances of the city of West Haven for their well-documented financial problems. So that doesn't mean, I'm not saying MARB is going to be taking over the city finances. That's not in the story that I've published on valleyindy.org. But if it happens, it's certainly not a great thing for the city of Derby in terms of managing its finances. So we're going to see what happened, but I thought it was very important to not only report this story, but to play you the entire discussion so you know where my reporting came from, and this essentially backs it up. So without further ado, here is the audio from the April 20th meeting of the Municipal Finance Advisory Council. The important, potentially impactful stuff happens at the very, very end of the discussion. But I encourage you, if you live in Derby and you pay taxes here, please listen to the entire discussion. Thanks.
Here from Derby. I'm not recognizing any names in the list. Do we have anybody from Derby? If you were here, please speak up. Okay.
Mayor Zeekins here.
Oh, okay.
Derby.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm on the phone. I tried to figure this thing out.
I also have to point out that they're a client just for,
Yep.
closure.
Yep. Okay. So, had a couple of thoughts and comments from your update. I do find it concerning the staffing issues in your finance department. That's just a blanket statement. Looking down your healthcare insurance, do you guys work with a consultant, a benefits consultant?
I don't have my finance people here, so if you have questions, you're going to have to put them down and I'll have to get back to you. I don't want to say the wrong stuff.
Okay, I'm just, we have, a lot of places have an agent that helps them place the medical insurance.
I have a broker.
Yeah, okay. So you have a broker?
Yes.
I have to say, I see, the increase in your budget. Are they aggressive for you in arguing rate increases like that?
Well, like I said, we've had meetings. They were going back and forth. I'm not really good on the terminologies that you guys use. Really, like to say limited on what I say.
Okay, all right. Well, so here's just my thought, and I think if it's just a broker you might want to consider at some point a consultant who will be able to get your claim information and analyze it and evaluate it on a regular basis. And they can help you when the carrier comes in and proposes a 20% increase, they can argue with them with a lot of data and detail and experience and be able to say, well, that is not justified. And, they can also help place your insurance and bid it and stuff like a broker can. But you really need somebody who's going to be your advocate with the insurance company, who knows what your claim history has been, and can say things like, well, that 20% increase is not justified based on our history. Or, there have been some blips. So, something you should consider looking into. The other comment I had for you, compensated absences, I don't see as OPEB. If you have that, you say, this is a statement, and you might need to get with your finance people, but in the report, it says that your compensated leave is more commonly referred to as other post-employment benefits. If you're talking about paying somebody out vacation at termination, that kind of thing is not OPEB. OPEB is benefits that you offer to former employees after they have left, such as medical care. So, you want to rethink how that is being treated. It is a difficult thing to project, and can cause wild, swings in your budget. You might want to see if you can have a trust or, some segregated fund balance that could help you manage compensated absences. But don't see it being treated as OPEB. Do you know how you're doing with the Board of Ed bank recs?
I heard we've been waiting on that. Everything in the city side is done. The NWPCA is done. Okay. And one of your old audit comments had to do with interfund transfers. And just one in particular I picked up on that said that you closed them all out except for the middle school one because there was not enough money. And you do have to close that out at some point. So I was wondering what the resolution of that has been or will be. Okay. Tony, do you have anything?
I do. I guess I want to reiterate your comments that I'm very concerned about the staffing issue, and that we were concerned that you had no deputy or assistant finance director to help, and now you don't have a finance director.
You have an assistant.
You have an assistant right now?
We hired a part-time.
A temporary.
So it's a part-time temporary. You don't have a full-time assistant finance director, and you don't have a finance director that's actually working at the moment, correct?
Correct.
So
we've been actively searching, but as you know, the field out there is sort of...
Right. That's obviously my biggest concern. I think I had a couple of concerns on your revenues and your budget proposal. I guess my first quick question or concern was that the actual column in the budget didn't match for 3/31/22, didn't match the report. That was 3/31/22. I was looking specifically at the prior year tax collected and how your budget went from actuals went from $1,200, $540, $3,000 to $200,000, and why your supplemental motor vehicle taxes went from $300,000 to $1 million. Those were my questions in the budget proposal. I don't expect you to answer those, but just generally some of the revenue lines I had some questions about. But there's no staff here, so I don't know what those answers are. And also, just generally, we like to see cities move forward. We don't seem to be moving forward here. So that's another concern of mine. We're all advisory to to try and help, and I just doesn't seem like we're moving forward. So those, I guess, were my comments and concerns.
Yeah, Tony's raised really good points. That dramatic increase in supplemental motor vehicle. I know prices of cars have increased, but
20% maybe.
Yeah, this
not 2.5 times.
And the prior year tax collection, without any evidence that unless you've got something specific that you expect will be collectible, it just calls into question the reliability of your budget estimates. Mike.
Just a question, and I apologize if this was covered previously, but I'm seeing in the documents that the audit extension for June 30th, 2021 is the requested extension was to April 30th later this month. Is the town on track to submit its audit for April 30th?
From the information I'm getting from the auditor, we just need the information from the Board of Ed, who recently lost their business manager. And I know they've been working, the auditor has been working with the Board of Ed. The city and WPCA side is complete.
Okay.
Who is the auditor?
John.
Maybe John Acabalo.
Okay,
There
thanks.
you go.
All right. Okay, Diane, do you have anything?
I don't have anything new to add. The only thing I will say, I agree with everything that Anthony, Mike, and you had said. Very concerned with the staffing. If you look at what's happening on the city side, but also on the Board of Ed side, I think there's not enough staff to get on top and address all of these issues. So I think that's a huge concern on my part. And I also agree with Anthony that we're not making any progress.
Okay, Becky?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, Glenn?
I have nothing in addition. I think Tony touched on everything. I guess my concern is the staffing, and is there, I know you're trying to find somebody, but it seems like it's kind of like running on the treadmill and not having the right people in place to do things, it seems, right now. So I guess the thought would be is, or the only question would be is, what's the plan going forward? You said you were hunting for people, which was fine and all, but I guess that also becomes, what do you do in the meantime, and who's actually watching the financial situation for the city?
Correct. We've interviewed several for the assistant. We have a temporary in there now. Chief of staff is assisting next door with the finance department. And like I said, I wish one could just drop out of the sky for us, but it's such a tough field, as you guys know. And we're doing all we possibly can over here to get someone in here.
Understood. Kim?
I just realized I was on mute. On that same theme, Mayor, would it be helpful if you seeked a professional firm to come in for a period of time to help wrap some of this up? Because you've got a long-standing history of these a lot of open audit findings that have not been closed, and that hurts you. You also have the audit that isn't getting completed, and you're saying the city side is done, but the Board of Ed is not done, and I understand that's not in your control, but any power that you have to get them to get it done, it will be a benefit to you and the city. I do not anticipate that it will be completed by the end of this month. That's my own personal opinion. I don't see that happening if they were still working on bank reconciliations at the Board of Ed. And if you did need a professional firm to help out, I'm willing to offer you some connections that we have, with Robert Half or other professional financial firms that could help in the interim till you can fill that position. I know that you might look at it from a financial perspective, but I don't think that you can afford, and I don't mean money, to not have somebody there. It's mentioned, Walter mentioned in his response that you put the money in the budget for a new system. Unless the financial infrastructure is there, there's no way you can put a new system in. I would be fearful of putting a new system in without having, a new finance director there or a finance director there that understands the city, understands what they're taking on, and all of a lot of work here, but also to be able to put a new system in, which it's like it's too much, and you got a whole cake and you got to eat it all. Well, you can't. You got to take a bite off at a time, and so I do think you need some help to do that, even if it's just for a 6-month period, something to get you to transition. That's my my thoughts. I did notice also the same as Tony that some of your budget in the new year, the numbers didn't look to be in line. So they seemed off, as well as your budget I call it the budget to actuals. The actuals are not the same in the budget as they were in your monthly statement. I know that Walt was throwing us these reports at the last minute, and maybe he didn't look at them to see if they tied or not. But I just want to bring that to your attention, Mayor.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw one more thing at you. Just going back to your update again, the comment about the 53-week police payroll. So a better way to handle things is you should not be paying based on the pay date, or you should not be expensing based on the pay date. You should actually be expensing based on when it's earned. So every year you should be having payrolls that are like 52.2 weeks or 52.3 weeks, which helps smooth out the year-to-year over time. It can be a little bit of a pain in the neck for your payroll people, but it's the appropriate way to be reporting your expenditures based on when it's actually earned, not when it's paid. And that would eliminate the occasional 53-week issue. So that's something for you to address when you get a finance person in place.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Any circle back on any comments? I just, reiterating, you're not making the progress you need to be making, and I think we're going to have to give some consideration to whether you stay with us at the MFAC or whether it's appropriate to move you, recommend that you be moved to the Municipal Accounting Review Board. So I want to make you aware of that. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Hamden, I believe I see that the mayor is present.